Hi, welcome to another segment of Our Ventura TV. My name is George Alger, and today's guest expert is Darryl Dunn, who is a local pastor here in Ventura, and he's also a cancer survivor, which is the topic of today's conversation. Welcome, Darryl.
Glad to be here.
So, Darryl, can you describe, first of all, what kind of cancer you have?
I have leukemia, and I have what's called ALL, is the abbreviation for acute lymphoblastic leukemia. It's of both the blood and the marrow.
Okay, and you've survived cancer for a while. When did you first get diagnosed with cancer?
Several years ago.
Okay.
I was a lot younger.
Okay, and it was a different type of cancer.
Yes, it was came in the form of in my throat, polyps in my throat, that they originally thought I had tonsillitis, and it kept coming back, and then upon closer inspection with a biopsy, they found out that I actually had throat cancer.
Okay, so after, I think you mentioned earlier that it was 5 years, things were pretty good, and then things weren't so good after that point. Is that correct?
That's correct. Started feeling, I've always been like a physical fitness nut, kept myself in shape, kind of really pushed myself, and thought maybe I was just working too hard. I just started getting fatigued a lot. And I went and saw my doctor, and my doctor originally thought, he says, well, Darryl, you're always pushing yourself. And he says, you probably just, overworked, but let's do a blood panel. And because my complaint was I was just constantly tired. I had no other complaint other than I was just constantly tired. So he said, let's run a blood test on you and see what that brings up. Called me back in, said, we need to run another blood test. Some things came back abnormal. Ran another blood test, and then he called me in his office and said, I need you to go see an oncologist. And you always associate oncology with cancer. So, I kind of hit the wall.
Okay, so at some point, though, you went through all the emotions of understanding that you have it, and you determined a protocol or direction of attack on how to handle this. And per my understanding, there's a traditional medical route, and then there's a number of people who advocate going an alternative route, and I've heard good and bad about both. What was the path you chose?
I chose to go the traditional route, which is chemotherapy. And after so many rounds of chemotherapy, they're constantly checking your bone marrow. They're constantly checking your blood counts. Because one of the things that's indicative of having leukemia is that your platelets crash, your white cells are either super elevated or they're almost non-existent. And in my case, they were almost non-existent, and my platelet count was just crashing. So went through several rounds of chemotherapy. That did not take care of it. I had to go through several more rounds. Then it was suggested that I get a stem cell transplant. Traditionally, you like to have a sibling that is a match. And in my case, I was adopted. So there wasn't a sibling match. So my church actually did a blood drive. And by a blood drive, they can do a simple cheek swab. And from that, they can determine what your blood type is. And if you have a matching blood type, then they do further testing to see if they can find a match. It is actually harder for minorities to find a match than any other race. And unfortunately, I did not find a match, so then the next step is to use your own stem cells. So you go through what's called a stem cell transplant, where they put you in the hospital, they basically take you to the brink of death because they have to strip your entire immune system, take out all the platelets, clean them, and then slowly put them back into your system.
This is a pretty dramatic physical undertaking, but this is actually your second cancer, so I just want to make sure we wrap up your first one, though. So the first cancer completely went away at some point, correct?
That was handled with radiation, the removal of the polyps and stuff. Traditional radiation, I believe it was 10 rounds. And then it was just basically, after that, just doing blood tests. For the first year, it was every 2 months. And then the second year, they dropped it to, I think, every 4 months. Then the third year, it was just twice a year. And after that, they just said, once a year, when you have your routine physical, come in and we'll check you. And never was detected again.
Good. So that actually got resolved. So when 5 years went by without any cancer for the first time, and then you didn't start, you weren't feeling as well again. This wasn't the first cancer coming back. This was a second cancer. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
Totally different kind.
All right. So the second was the leukemia, and that's the the procedure you were just talking about. Somewhere along the line, though, your leg had to be removed. How does that fit in?
I ended up having a growth in the leg, and one of the things with having cancer is your immune system is weak. So I had a tumor that was removed from my leg, but where they did the removal of the tumor, the incision would not close up, and it got infected. And they tried everything to get it to close up. I think I had 5 surgeries from the initial time that they had removed the tumor to the time where they had to actually amputate the leg. The wound would just never heal. It got infected. The infection, unfortunately, is something that I picked up in the hospital.
Okay. So you're still going through the process of the chemotherapy currently, and this is after how long now that you've had the leukemia?
10 years.
Wow. Okay. So you've been battling cancer for a long time.
Yes.
Either one of the forms. Okay. So that would be seems like over 15 years at this point then.
Correct.
Okay. So because I've spoken with you a number of times before, and sometimes on this topic, I understand you have a very strong will to survive. And I'm wondering if you personally consider that is the factor that has allowed you to survive as long as you have, because not everyone does.
Well, I think I had 3 things that helps me. One is the fact that I have faith. I have strong faith, being a pastor. So I believe that there's something greater than all of this that we're surrounded by now. So I don't have a fear. 2, I'm a very driven person. So I try not to even though I'm sick, I still try to make sure that I do something, accomplish something each and every day. So I don't like to use my illness as an excuse for anything. If I can get out of bed, I'm going to get out of bed. And because I believe the day that I decide, I'm not going to get out of bed today, I'll just call in sick or mail it in, is the day that people should really be concerned. But as long as I can get myself up every day, regardless of the pain, and function and accomplish something, and by accomplishing something, as a pastor, I like to help people, so touch somebody else's life in some way, not mine.
That is an interesting position to be in, where you're receiving chemotherapy. It's more than once a week, is that the case?
Yes.
Okay, so you've been receiving chemotherapy more than once a week. It's very physically demanding, as I understand.
Yes.
And yet your normal job is you're helping others as well. I'm wondering if you, having come from a background of being athletic and going through this change in your life, and also being from, as a pastor, helping others, has this shifted your perspective on life in some way?
Definitely. I would say that before I became a pastor, with, like, say, my first bout, I was definitely depressed and in denial. Like, how could this happen to me? I'm a physical fitness nut. I eat correct. I take care of myself. I don't smoke or drink. So I was angry and denial and quite depressed. And not saying that cancer isn't depressing, because it can be, but this time around, being that I'm surrounded by church members, not only from my church, but just out in the community with other congregations that we all work together at different times in the community to help others. And the fact that I have a strong faith in God and believe that there's something beyond this. It's made it easier to combat.
Cool. All right, well, we're just about out of time here. I'm wondering if there's a summating message that you'd like to convey to the viewers.
Yeah, that would be that cancer can affect anybody, and everybody on their own has to determine how they want to handle it. And I strongly suggest to everybody that it's remaining positive. You need to remain positive. You need to stay around positive people. Have laughter in your life. Let people into your life. You don't want them just there when it's the good times. Your true friends are going to be there when you're on the floor, puking and can't get up, and they come over just to give you a kind word or bring you chicken soup. Surround yourself with people that have a sense of humor, aren't afraid to tell you, hey, you need to get out of bed. Put your feet on the ground, get up, let's go for a walk, let's do something. So surround yourself with positive people, have a positive attitude, and make sure that you're happy with the doctor that you have. In other words, I've been very blessed to have doctors that are very passionate about what they do. And I've had other doctors that say, I just don't know, Darryl. And of course, nobody knows for sure. But I believe in having doctors that are positive, that say, I will be here with you every step of the way, and say, I will fight with you as long as you want to fight. And to me, that's what makes the difference for me. Faith, humor, great friends.
Well said. Thank you very much, Darryl.
Sure.
This is George Alger signing off for this segment of Our Ventura TV. Until we meet again.